magic in the air. Wands roll around us, cast away our care. Friends in the hallways, adventures we find. Spells and enchantments, trouble on our mind. That's so wizards, oh, 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 oh. Life is a spell we know. We're casting joy and glow, oh, oh. That's a wizard show.
How could I not? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Happy Halloween. Hopefully you're all healthy and well. It's Wednesday, the 15th day of Spooktober 2025. It's 53 degrees here at Site B, located in the fictional town of Fresno, Nevada, that does not in fact exist. And I am your grumpy guide, the supervillain known as the OGGM. It's Wednesday, which means it's time to defend the unbelievably stupid choices by Wizards of the Coast as part of my villain arc. Continuing to remind you that Wizards Hasbro is doing exactly... Oh, look, a comment already. Wow. Good morning, Kat. Wizards is doing exactly what they said they could do. And in this case, it's R.A. Salvatore doing exactly what Wizards told him. I mean, what he said he was going to do. He's not doing it because Wizards is telling him to. He's made that very clear that this is of his own free will, that he's ended the story of... Sidebar, I am probably going to mispronounce these names. I have a habit of mispronouncing these names. So if you get upset if I mispronounce Drow or Dro or Drizzt or whatever this chick's name is, just warning you now, I'm going to mispronounce it. Back to where we were. Yeah, so Salvatore says, I'm done. I've told every tale I want to tell about the Drow elf guy with the two swords who's completely ruined Drow elves. I want to tell a new story about his daughter. Breezy. Well, actually, it's Brianna, but everybody calls her Breezy. And the new book's coming out, and somehow, in one half of a sentence, in the past 24 hours, they managed to polarize the entire gaming community, and to the point where our dear friend Patty passed away from cringe. He posted it a day or two ago that he literally passed away from cringe. People for coming out of the woodworks, basically up in arms over the statement in the ad where the character says, I am not Drizzt's daughter. And that has led to a literal avalanche, of cringe. And how dare you ruin this character? And how dare you ruin Drow, Doodles, whatever you want to call them. Dark elves. Dark elves were ruined a long time ago, but whatever. Gary Gygax even said the only player characters, dark elves he ever sees are chaotic good rangers. So as far as he knew, Drow were all chaotic good rangers who hated where they came from, because that was every player character Drow that he saw. Yeah. So this is a book that's continuing the story of Drizzt, Drowsit, whatever you want to call him. Dave. We'll call him Dave. So just don't mispronounce the name. Continuing the adventures of Dave, but Dave has settled down with his wife. He's had a kid, and that kid is going off to make her own way in the world. Now, the trope of the character saying, I am not so-and-so's kid is as old as fiction. The history of the genre is filled with characters who have said, I am not so-and-so's kid. I am not Darth Vader's son. I'm Luke Skywalker. I am not the son of, Krypton. I'm Clark Kent. I'm Superman. I want to make my own way and don't want to live off of the reputation of my parents. Judge me by my actions, not by how I was raised. That seems to be perfectly fine. And yet we're up in arms. We're up in arms. How dare this character say that? Steve is behind me playing in his box. Well, actually, he's under the box, playing in a sunbeam. Yeah, it's a cat. We don't question what cats do. So yeah, we're upset because this character said that. Even professional writers who've said that. Even fans of Salvatore have said that so far this book looks pretty cringy. So why are we so upset about the sentence? Because it's just whatever. Perhaps it's because some of us read the rest of the sentence. And yeah, it's up. on the Wizards site. It is voiced by a very familiar sounding voice. Not sure why they made this choice of this individual, but here we go. This is it. Hopefully you can hear it.
My name is not Drizzt's daughter. I am Bree.
That voice sound familiar?
Bree Doerden.
Can you hear it?
I have heard all the tales of my parents and their friends recounted breathlessly by people who tell me how blessed I am and how lucky I must be and how wondrous my life must be. I have heard all the tales too many times. My name is Bree. I answer to Bree. I take responsibility for Bree and for Bree alone.
Okay, so far a little long-winded, but I mean, again, cringy. Is she going to be a girl boss, as people are saying? Is she going to be a Mary Sue? Of course she's going to be a Mary Sue. She's Drizzt's daughter. She's going to kill 10,000 orcs in her sleep. You know, she's going to accomplish things that no normal character can accomplish. She's going to just fart out magic items. That's a good line. I'll have to save that.
Well, or to Breezy. I rather like that. Pleased to meet you. Hope you learn my name.
Oh my God! Wait,
But
what?
when you meet
No.
my children-
Wait, what? No, she did not. No.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you learn my name.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you learn my name. Oh, I like this one. They couldn't find a female voice actor for her. I mean, fuck, you had Mackenzie. There were women who work at Wizards, at least one. Pleased to meet you. Hope you learn my name. Really? Really? You're paraphrasing the Rolling Stones? A song about the devil? Where would... No, I would question where that character would have ever heard that and being able to string it into a sentence, except, of course, at one point in time, the Forgotten Realms was connected to Earth. If anybody remembers when Ed still had a say in the history of the Forgotten Realms, it was always the other part of Earth that we forgot about. That's how Elminster and Ed were able to have conversations, and that's why there were so many different parts of the Forgotten Realms that resembled Earth. Why is Tyr, the Norse god, in Earth? Why does Mulheron look exactly like Egypt? Because it was another chunk. So I guess the Rolling Stones could exist, or, you know, knowledge of. Maybe, you know, when the spaceship crashed from Expedition to Barrier Peaks, Drizzt picked up a CD player that happened to have the Rolling Stones on it and just handed it over to his daughter, his ungrateful girl boss Mary Sue daughter, and said, here, listen to this band. No, why? Come on. And why not get a girl to see this? Have a girl read the thing and drop the Rolling Stones. Look how cute we are. We're paraphrasing the Rolling Stones. She's Bree. She wants to establish herself on her own. She doesn't want to be known for her parents' actions, but she sure as hell will take her parents' magic items.
But when you meet my children, should there be any, and should you meet them, learn their name, the one they forge on their own, and it will not be Breezy's daughter.
The finest edge of Twilight. The finest edge of Twilight. What does that even mean? What is the finest edge of Twilight? Does that have something to do with the Twilight series? Yeah. So the complaint is she's going to be a girl boss. It's going to be very woke. She's going to be a Mary Sue and just, you know, pull off all these accomplished things. Elminster had, I mean, if you read the old Dragon magazines, Elminster would show up at Ed's house all the time. and they'd sit and they'd talk. So yeah. And then there was one time where Mordecai and Elminster were in Ed's house, and Ed was high. I mean, yeah, there was running stories through Dragon Magazine where Elminster would come over to Earth and hang out in Ed's house and tell him about what was going on in the Forgotten Realms. And that's how Ed was able to write the Forgotten Realms. I don't know if that's still the thing, but that was at one point in time. The Forgotten Realms was connected to Earth, thus Mulholland. So yeah, that's what people were saying. Here, we're woke, of course. Cringe. Girl boss, ungrateful brat, Mary Sue, reminds me of Rey from Star Wars, hates her background, but of course will take advantage of her background, blah, 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 blah. Now, I have no problem with Salvatore saying, I'm done telling stories about this character. I've told every story I can tell about this character. This character has single-handedly saved the world, defeated thousands of orcs, had, been the beloved of a god, married the girl of his dreams, I don't know, conquered Mars, invented the s'mores, sung back up for the Rolling Stones. Is there anything Drizzt hasn't done? Yeah, OGGM, get you to pronounce his name right. So if he wants to retire, and I don't know what a character like Drizzt does when he's retired, did he have hobbies outside of saving the world and feeling sorry for himself? I don't know. What do you do when you're a character like that? How do you retire? Well, I guess I'm going to open an inn. I'm going to take up needlework. I'm going to start gardening. Maybe he becomes a politician, and I don't know. I mean, I don't see that character ever retiring, really. The world's always going to need him. But then he's like, okay, we had a kid, and that kid's going to go off and make her own way because that kid has grown up in our shadow. And she deserves a chance to make her own way. And that's fine. That's storytelling 101. Character who wants to make their own way and not Nepo baby off of their parents. Don't give me any money, mom and dad. I want to make my own way in the world. I want to get my own job. I'm not Darth Vader's kid. I'm Luke Skywalker. It's a classic trope. Technically, there's nothing wrong with it. So how is it that so many people are outraged by this one sentence? Or the idea that the character wants to establish themselves as an individual and not being their parents' kid. Probably because of the way it's said. I mean, literally, I'm an ungrateful brat. The character is written to be very snotty, very ungrateful, very egotistical, very cringy. She's a girl boss, whatever that means. I haven't seen anybody say anything positive about this book yet, other than wait and see. Let me read it first. I have faith. It does look cringy, but I'm going to wait till I finish it. So yeah, this is Wizards continuing to ruin their past in order to create a new timeline where anything connected to D&D before 2024 never existed. It's another example of Wizards failing forward, continuing to rewrite the story to present us with the Dungeons and Dragons that they said they were going to present us with in, 2020. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And we're doing it again, and then they got Salvatore to completely disown everything he'd said about the Drow and creating the Drow, and rewrote the entire history of the Drow, whatever you want to call them. Rewrote the entire history of Dave the Drow Elf. You know him as Drizzt, but I'm going to pronounce it wrong, so we're calling him Dave. Then retired Drizzt. I'm not sure how Drizzt retires, but okay, sure, Drizzt retires. And then Dave and his girlfriend, his wife, have a kid. And writing a story about that kid to continue to milk the legacy of your character, why shouldn't he? I mean, that's what a lot of authors do. I'm just... If you really wanted us to believe you were done with the character and done with the story, write a new series that has nothing to do with D&D. Write a, urban arcana murder mystery. but you're always going to be stuck being known as the Drow guy. So you might as well milk the Drow guy thing as long as you can, because, hey, my story about the halfling letter deliverer didn't pay for this house and didn't pay to send my kids to college. The story about the Drow elf did. So, yeah. Wanting to continue the story without continuing the story because Wizards of the Coast wants to continue to milk the story. Hey, at least he finished it. We're still waiting for the other guy to finish Game of Thrones, right? But it's not the sentence. I don't want to be known as my father's daughter. I want to be known by what I do. That's standard. Starting off the character as a snotty, self-centered, I'm going to establish myself on my own and then hopefully undergo the heroic journey. I mean, Luke was a bit of a... When we met him, it's only through Luke's journey that Luke becomes a better person, right? Bilbo is Bilbo until when we meet him. Bilbo becomes a better person and a more well-rounded person because of the journey. The heroic journey makes the character more than just the trope. So you would assume the journey of Breezy would make Breezy more than just the trope of the spoiled little girl who doesn't want to live off her parents' legacy, but is, of course, more than happy to take her parents' stuff. And yet somehow we have upset the entire community with that line. Which on the surface, fine, but again, it's Wizards, and it's how the line is presented, and it's how the character is presented, it, and it's forcing this false narrative down the reader's throat to just tag along reading a book that feels like Salvatore wrote it over a weekend because he had to. You know, write this book. We need more Drow. How else are we going to keep marketing this? We've got a video game coming up. Did you expect any less? So I will defend the sentence because that's the job of being the villain, is to defend Wizards of the Coast. How dare Wizards of the Coast do exactly what they said they were going to do? Oh, no. How dare R.A. Salvatore do exactly what he said he was going to do? Oh, no. How dare they make a book about a character that, you know, is going to continue to do exactly what they said they were going to do? Oh, no. Wizards is being Wizards, and that's okay. And this is just a horrible way to present a new character when it could have just been so easy. And if you do have to have the sentence of, you know, I'm not them, you don't start it with that. You end it with that. You know, you show us how the character started, how the character was shaped and grew up and became a full-fledged individual. So by the end, they can say, I'm not just I am my father's daughter, but I am also my own person. And while I am very happy and honored to be part of my father's legacy, I am also my own person, and judge me by my actions, not the actions of my parents. There, bam, Wizards! I wrote your entire book for you. But come on, say it with me. But come on, you know you can do it. Come on, say it with me. But that's so Wizards!
Mischief in the classroom, potions gone astray. Flying through the quad, now brighter every day. Laugh till we cry hard, sneaking out at night. Cloaks in the moonlight, everything feels right. That's so Wizards.